morning, Joseph. Good morning, Jenya. So first, I want to apologize for having so many days go by without having seen you. And second, I want to say I love you very much. I don't ever want you to question or wonder if I love you. I love you greatly. So, with that being said, a little bit about my last couple days. As you know, the truck has been broken down, so I haven't been able to drive or go anywhere. I've gone on a couple of very long walks and found out about Lake Murray. I'll take you over there so you can see that. You'll enjoy that. And I went shopping. I walked down and went shopping. Done some work on the computer. That's pretty much all the work I've been doing. Building new business through that, so I'll have money coming in on a regular basis. And let's see, what else? I am going to start doing some things that kind of get me back on stage. And one of them might be, well, I'm going to put together a video to audition for Oprah show. She's looking for a guest speaker, or not a guest speaker, she's looking for a talk show host, somebody to actually run a show. I think it's going to be online, I don't know, but I have to look more into it, and I'm putting together a video, and I'm going to ask you two to be part of it when I do the final shooting. Let's see, what else? I am reading some very good books about how the brain works, and books about how to do better in business, things like that. There's a guy named Dan Kennedy that when you get older, I think you will be really good for you to read, Jenya and Joseph. And let's see, anything else? I saw this information about a brand new electric car called the Coda. It looks like it's going to be a pretty cool car. I like it so far. So I asked for information. I'm going to stay in touch with them and see what they're doing with that car. Now, something that you probably really want to hear about. I've been thinking of a story. Haven't really put it all together yet. Don't know exactly what it's going to go into, what it's going to be like, whether they're going to be going through the sands of Persia, or whether they're going to be traveling through the jungles of the Amazon, or through the cities of Chicago and New York. I don't know yet. But I know that there's a story and it's brewing up here. And the story begins with something as simple as a young girl going to sleep and her mom and dad giving her a kiss on either cheek. And as she goes to sleep, she finds that she actually wakes up. And when she wakes up, she's not sure it's a dream anymore. In fact, she doesn't know which is the dream, where she was just at or where she is now. There's green everywhere, just exploding all around her. There's green bushes, luscious, soft green grass, the kind that you can lay on and snuggle down in and it feels like a bed. All the trees are fully covered in huge green leaves. There's green ivy vines wrapping around each tree. And you can tell that the vines aren't hurting the tree. They're actually part of the tree's growth. Everywhere she looked, but it wasn't just green. There was color everywhere, speckled amongst. There were flowers growing on everything. If it had green, it had a flower. And when she just breathed in, the smell of the flowers was like vanilla and candy. She smelled chocolate somewhere, but she walked over and it was one of the flowers. There was a small flower, a little buttercup, just sitting with the edges folded outward so much. And when she put her nose by it, it was chocolate, a chocolate-smelling flower. Oh, she didn't know what to think or do. She looked around, and everything just spoke of joy, happiness, and life. Well, being who she was, Esther was a very curious girl, and she looked around for just a moment, and then she started to wonder, where am I? What can be done in this wonderful place? So she ran over to a tree, and sure enough, she started to climb it. And she climbed, she held onto the vine, and the vine was huge. She grabbed onto it, pulled herself up, and grabbed onto a branch and hoisted herself up until finally she was at the top of the tree. And she looked around, and as far as she could see, everything was green and colorful, full of life. In the sky, there was a huge bird flying back and forth, just sitting on the eddies of the air, being lifted up by a thermal and dropped as the thermal went away. And the bird she could almost see it smile. She could feel its joy. And she wondered, again, where am I? As she looked, she saw that there was a small valley off in the distance, and that valley seemed to have a winding creek. She would have called it a river, but from where she was at, it definitely looked too small to be, and it wound back and forth and back and forth. It was almost as if somebody had made it. Well, immediately she was thirsty, and she wondered and figured that if as beautiful as this land was, it had to have a creek that had some marvelously tasting water. So she immediately climbed down the tree, and being who she was, when she got down to the last branch, she looked and just went, woohoo! Dropped about 5-10 feet and hit the ground rolling, and got up and started running in the direction of the creek. She ran and ran and ran, and another thing she noticed, the air was so good feeling and fresh. She was feeling stronger with every step she took. It was like the air was food. And she ran and ran and ran faster, 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 until finally she heard, and she could hear the water going over the rocks. And she skidded to a stop before she almost